Good morning, millennials. Welcome back to the Morning Toast and happy Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday. Getting down on Friday. Welcome back to the Morning Toast. Happy Friday, everyone. Jack's here, Claudia here, Brunner here, Thrice here. Everyone's here. Woohoo!
Woohoo! The Strice brothers are back in town, which means that today's episode will be complete, you know?
Jackie. The boys are back in town. Yeah.
Yeah, is right. Happy Friday, everyone. We did it. And every single one of us did it. Those who earned it, those who didn't, those who are good, those who are bad. It's Friday for all of us.
Actually, I don't think it's Friday for our Australian toasters.
Oh,
you know, we're
true.
huge in Australia.
True that.
Two things. One, what was one? Whatever. Two is Not Like Other Girls tour is officially on sale. If you head over to girlwithnojob.com/tour, all the shows should be up for sale by the time you're listening to this. The West Coast is 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's Portland and Seattle. But shit's getting real, you guys. Like, Charlotte is gone. Charlotte was gone the minute we went up for sale. So that sucks for people who didn't get tickets. But the good thing is that I'm playing an even bigger venue in Durham, North Carolina, which I think is like 90 minutes away. So if you weren't able to get Charlotte, check out Durham. We've got Portland, Seattle, Long Island, New York. We've got West Hampton, New York. We've got all the places. Nashville, the Nashville girlies were taken care of. Girlwithnojob.com/tour. I can't wait to see you all. I feel like we have a lot of new toasters here. So for those who don't know, you're probably like, oh my God, I've been listening to the show. Claudia and Jackie are so funny. Like, maybe one of them should try stand up. Well, it turns out one of us did. She's extremely successful and extremely funny. And she's on tour. Girlwithnojob.com/tour. It's about a 60-75 minute stand-up show. We're laughing, we're drinking, we're talking about me, we're talking about my weight, we're talking about pop culture.
Are we talking about the Strice brothers? I don't think so. I think they got snubbed.
Yeah, no, they're not really in this tour. My tour is actually more like me focused, you know?
Yeah, but Theo got a mention.
Bruno is growling.
Bruno's aggressive.
You know what? Like, they say, you know, like, oh my God, Bruno, chill the fuck out, bitch.
Bruno, come on, it's Friday, chill.
Oh my, the boys are like, okay, what I was going to say is like, you know, there's like a stereotype, like rescue dogs are aggressive. And like, if you get a dog from a breeder, he's much safer. And you know, Bruno is kind of smashing that stereotype.
Bruno's kind of aggro.
He's kind of aggro.
No, but here's the thing. Like, he has a big bark, but no bite. Mm-hmm. And he sees himself as this big macho man, maybe because his name is Bruno.
No, maybe.
And he feels like he needs to live up to it.
No, I think maybe in the last couple months, he's been entering like his big brother role. And he's been taking it really seriously.
He has been taking it seriously. But he does get this way where he's just like, I will fight anyone at any time. And it's like, Bruno, calm down. No one's threatening you.
Literally, this is the meme. Nobody. Bruno. You want to fight? You want to take this outside?
This is me. Nobody. Bruno.
The boys are here. It's Friday. I hope everyone is feeling joyous. I know I am, because there's really nothing like a Friday. Actually, there's Friday, which is a little bit better. But I had a few things I wanted to clear up from yesterday's show.
Oh, shit. Okay. And then I have something that I want to say as well, because I saw a comment the other day being like, I'm new here. Who can you explain who all the people are, all the characters in your life? And I would literally love nothing more than to do that.
Yeah, I think like our newfound success like really hit me yesterday when you called me to share like that. I think literally like the receptionist at your doctor's office was like, oh, we recognize your name. I watch you guys on TikTok.
She said that. I love you guys. I watch on TikTok.
And Jackie, of course, called me because that's like my dream. Like some people like to whisper like dirty things in their lovers' ears. When me and Ben make love, he's like, you're so famous on TikTok. And that's what takes me to the edge. But the things I wanted to clear up from yesterday's episode. First is that the Beyonce toasters came for us, and I have to issue a correction. Uncle Johnny. And I knew this. I don't know. I literally just saw a TikTok about it. Not a designer. Uncle Johnny is Beyonce's uncle. And he recently passed from HIV, but he was like making dresses for Beyonce. He made her prom dress.
Right. So I feel like
it has nothing to do with Kim.
Nothing to do with Kim. Like maybe she was saying like her prom dress was made by Uncle Johnny and the other girls were wearing cheap spandex.
Right. So apologize for that. Not cool, Claudia. Not cool. Also, we heard from our sewage girlies yesterday. You know, we were talking about manholes yesterday. We did. And I said, if you work in the sewage industry, like let me know. Not expecting any of our toasters to work in sewage. And there were quite a few. And they let me know that the new kind of gender neutral, politically correct term for manhole is maintenance hole. That way the acronym MH stays the same.
That's good. They don't have to change signs and posters. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, maintenance hole.
And then the third and final update from yesterday's show is the Rachels. They showed up and they showed out. We are getting increasingly closer to our goal of 100,000 YouTube subscribers. And how we're doing that is by basically targeting people every day and bullying them into submission. So yesterday we targeted the Rachels. Jackie chose really kind of a good name. Biblical roots, extremely common, very millennial. And today's my day to choose. And I've gone with Emily.
Great.
I think it's super common. So if you're an Emily who listens to this as a podcast or as a YouTube video, get your fucking ass up, bitch, and go subscribe. I know you have a Gmail account that you email.
But you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar.
Actually, I think the actual lesson we've learned these past couple of weeks is when it comes to YouTube subscribers, bullying works.
I think you catch more honey when you call the bees out by name, but still.
No, I think we need to use a firm hand.
Okay.
Emily's, this is your time. Use that Gmail account. Maybe you haven't logged in in a few years, or maybe you have. Head over to youtube.com/morningtoast and subscribe to help us reach our goal. Not that it's a competition and that I'm not pitting women against women, but the Sarahs and the Rachels really showed up. And I wouldn't want the Emilys to, forsake their name. I wouldn't want that.
That would be a big yikes.
Big yikes. Those were all the things I had to update everyone on.
Great. So I'll just do a brief refresher for anyone who's new here. It's one of my favorite things to do. So my name is Jackie. This is Claudia. We are sisters, full sisters.
Blood.
Same mom, same dad. Sisters. We have two other sisters, Olivia and Margot.
Margot goes by Snitch. If you ever hear us saying Snitch, she's the youngest sister.
And it's not because she snitches. She does snatch, but she doesn't snitch.
No, and honestly, like the roots, the origin of the nickname are just too deep to get into right now.
Yeah, but we just call her Snitch and it has nothing to do with like the meaning of the word snitch. Now, Claudia and I are both married. My husband's name is Zach. Claudia's husband's name is Ben. Olivia's husband is also named Zach.
Confusing.
But we call him Shapiro.
Sharipo, I call him.
Yeah, it just depends on the day.
We also both have King Charles Cavalier dogs, who you obviously saw at the beginning of this episode if you're watching on YouTube. My dog's name is Theo.
My dog's name is Bruno, but we call him Bruce, Bryce, Brasson,
Strassen. So together they're Bryce and Strice.
And they're the Strice brothers.
Theo also goes by Thrice. He also goes by Crunch. He also goes by Captain Crunch, Crunchy Angel Dora.
Right, like I call Bryce mostly Bryson these days, but when they're together, they're Bryce and Strass.
100%. I call Theo like, mostly when it's the two of us, I call him like Crunchy or Tiggity.
I also call Theo Thea, and I call Bruna Bruna. And then they're the Strice sisters.
Because Bruna, 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 let me be your Bruna. Bruna, Bruna, Bruna. Let me be your Thea. Thea, Thea, Thea. Let me be. Oh, I remember the first thing.
Oh, but let me just finish for 1 second because I just had a few more notes, which is that we've been doing the show for 4.5 years now. We absolutely love it. It's a dream come true. The show, we've been in many different studios. This is now a new studio for us. How many has it been? It was that one, this one, this one. This is fourth studio.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting. This is the first time we've incorporated flamingos, and we're really excited about that if you haven't been able to tell.
Thrilled.
But Claudia still lives in New York, so she will be going home soon.
So that was my number one, is that my time here has come to an end. I'm leaving this weekend, but there's really not much to worry about because while next week's episode, I'll be at my studio in New York. Jackie will be here in Florida. We have a great new remote setup. You won't even notice the difference. I happen to be returning here the week after that because I have a wedding, and I figured like if I have to be here on Thursday for a wedding, like I might as well just come Monday and podcast with you. So it'll be like this a lot, back and forth. Jackie will be there. I will be here.
When you come next Monday, you're staying with me, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
So it's just important to remember, like a lot of people were quaking about all the change, but I hope that these last 2 weeks that I've been here have settled anyone's nerves. They've certainly settled mine. I can't lie.
Right.
We have a great Florida setup. We have a great remote setup. We have a great New York setup. So there's really not much to worry about. If anything, like we're elevating constantly.
Yeah. And now our feed page is like so pink and it's so sick. Mm-hmm. And then when you go down, it's green, and
there are a few posts with the blue couch.
We're constantly adding to the vibe, and I think that's always a good thing.
Because if you're not evolving, you're dying.
Yeah.
And so that's on being alive.
True that.
We've got a great show.
And that's the other thing about us. We typically have a great show.
Yeah. And even when like we don't, it's still better than every podcast you've ever listened to. So
literally.
And I'm not even just saying that because like obviously this is my show. It's an actual fact of life. Like you can look it up. It's 100% true.
Yeah. Especially considering it's every day.
Right. Like we're talented.
We're feeling #proud. Speaking of being proud, I also run a passion project podcast called The Redheads Book Club. It is a book club. We do 1 episode a month. We read 1 book. I do it with my 2 best friends and my little sister, Snitch. And we all have different book tastes. So every book choice is very different from the one before. And it makes for a great stimulating convo. And people love being a part of the Redheads. And the thing is, it's never too late to become a redhead.
You can join whenever, read the book whenever, listen to the episode whenever.
Yeah.
Actually, I have been thinking a lot. Like, I have a lot of jealousy of your passion project. I'm always thinking, like, maybe I should start a passion project podcast, but like, I literally don't know what about.
But you have so many passion projects. Like, you wrote a book. Yeah. You're on tour. Like, I feel like you have just because it's not a
my
podcast.
Is full.
No, just because it's not like identical to my passion project. You have, I would say, more passion projects.
Maybe that's just like me and my inherent need to like have everything that everyone else has.
No, I think it's your need to like be a mogul, never stop, never sleep, give your all. And so you're like, oh wait, I'm not doing another podcast. Should I be? No, you're on tour.
No, you're so right.
Every time
I need to take care of me.
You need to, you never think about yourself. You never talk about yourself. You never worry about yourself.
No, I should definitely start talking about myself more. Maybe I'll start a podcast. Maybe that's what my passion project is about.
Another podcast where you can just talk about yourself.
Not to make it about me. That's actually a good name for a podcast. Trademark.
It is. But every time you try to start a podcast, like another one, you're like, I'm going to do this sort of podcast with Ben. I always tell you not to because you don't have the bandwidth.
No, but okay, really random. Did you know when you think of Coastal Grandmother, like the name, the aesthetic and like the concept, what do you think, like where do you think it originated?
Nancy Meyers.
Okay, like yes, but I mean like who coined the phrase?
Oh, someone on TikTok.
There's like, I actually found her yesterday. I think she might be a toaster because she followed me on TikTok. So I followed her back. Her name is Lex. She like actually came up with the name and it's like, she trademarked it. And so she was like quaking over that Jimmy Fallon video we were roasting yesterday, but like something she made ended up on
the
Tonight Show.
Cool.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about like, and that's the thing with the internet. Something becomes so popular, you never think about like who started it.
Yeah.
I always think about that with the girl who started, Eyebrows on Fleek.
Yeah.
I love that video. Eyebrows on Fleek. The fuck. That girl was so funny. And then literally it became just like a part of the vernacular and nobody even realized she was the girlie who started it.
Yeah.
And her eyebrows were on fleek. The fuck.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting. Like factoid.
We love interesting factoids. That's another thing about us.
We do.
And if it's not interesting, we don't want it.
Do not.
Send it back. Return to sender.
Return to sender. Immediately. So we've got a great show. I have nothing really else to say except for girlwithnojob.com/tour. So yeah, what about you?
I think that's it for me. I think we could jump in if anything comes up along the way. You know we'll bring it up.
We will.
You know we'll mention it all.
Certainly.
So without further ado, here are the Fast 5 stories that you need to know before you wake up and take a bite out of your morning toast.
And today's episode is brought to you by Caraway Home. It's time to ditch the chemicals with Caraway Home's non-toxic cookware and bakeware collections so that you can make healthier cooking a piece of cake. Their non-toxic kitchenwares are all designed for the modern home and they feature a chemical-free ceramic coating so food can be prepared with peace of mind that no hard-to-pronounce compound will leach into your healthy ingredients. So they have the cookware set, which is a modern and chemical-free iteration of the traditional 16-piece set, but it's boiled down just the essentials. Thank you, by the way, not all of us have the space. They have the fry pan, saute pan, saucepan, and the Dutch oven. They have the long-awaited Iconics collection, which is the high design upgraded, featuring 2 unmistakable classic shades, both dressed up in a glossy gold hardware. So obviously, like functionally, they're great, you know, non-toxic, but really aesthetically, which is more important to a shallow person like me, they're stunning. The pictures are, I mean, the color options are so
gorgeous,
premium pastel Pliny vibes. They also
have the most gorgeous Caraway set, and Zach, whenever he cooks, he like burns everything and like ruins the pans. But these ones are amazing because they're non-stick, and so he physically can't. And it's just a beautiful thing to watch
for ladies with careless husbands everywhere. Visit carawayhome.com/TMT to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/TMT Or just use the code TMT as in the morning toast at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. Today's episode is also brought to you by Beauty Counter, a leader in the clean beauty industry with the collective mission to get safer products into the hands of everyone. They believe that beauty should be good for you, and that's why they created a variety of clean skincare and beauty products, such as the Dew Skin Tinted Moisturizer, which is a daily makeup meets skincare tinted moisturizer with an SPF 20. It'll provide a sheer, lightweight coverage for a dewy, luminous finish, and it helps you achieve an even-looking skin tone, and it protects the skin against the sun's damaging rays. I am a tinted moisturizer girly, but I find a lot of them to be like really oily, make me look really shiny, when the overall goal is obviously like even out my skin tone, give me a little SPF so I can look, you know, like a human being, not a zombie. And I really like the one from Beauty Counter. It doesn't make me look oily at all, and I feel like it really protects me from the sun. It's just like a great base that I can do makeup on top of or not. I also really like their mascara. It's one of their best-selling products. It's a clean mascara. It achieves ultimate lift, length, and volume without any potentially harmful ingredients. Right now, they're offering 30% off your first order. So in case you needed another reason to switch to a clean beauty routine, head to Beauty Counter and use code TOAST to save 30% off your first order.
Great. Thank you so much, Claudia.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You know what I've noticed? Like, after I do like the first 2 ads is when I usually like to say it's a pleasure. And I notice on Fridays, you like really give me the space. Because sometimes you're like, thank you, Claudia. Our first story, like not remembering like I had a song to sing. But on Fridays, I feel like you're always like, go, you know?
That is interesting.
Encouraging me to be creative. It's like the 4th Friday I've realized that.
That is so interesting.
And it might just be because like you're in like a, you know, a good Friday mood.
Or maybe it's because the stories are not pressing. So take your time. We don't have to jump right in. Even though our first story I'm obsessed with, and I'm going to read it verbatim because Kylie Jenner has gotten into a fight with some loser on Instagram.
Okay, I have to say, like, we'll dive into it, but I did a full deep dive on that guy's Instagram yesterday because I was so curious, like, what makes him in charge?
The authority.
Right, like, who are you? So tell the story, and then I want to give my thoughts on this man's Instagram because he's literally a Karen.
Yeah. So Kylie was in the lab. I think she's in Milan. She posted pictures of her like mixing up some new formulas and, you know, being cute in the lab tings. And this Karen called KJ Bennett Beauty on Instagram posted saying, I know the Kardashian Jenner stans are going to come for my throat because I'm calling out their cosmetic queen, but what the fuck, Kylie? I'm a cosmetic developer and work with cosmetic manufacturers and their labs as part of my job. I have very short hair and I've never been allowed into the lab or onto the manufacturing floor without a hairnet, shoe covers, masks, and disposable gloves. Kylie is gaslighting her followers into thinking she is creating cosmetics, and I'd like to know what ignorant manufacturer in Italy let her stage this photo op in their lab and on the manufacturing floor without following proper sanitation protocols. I need the name because I want to make sure my clients never work with them again.
Chill.
Folks, this is not the way This is not the way we create cosmetics and misrepresents how our industry works. Credible manufacturers follow strict sanitation protocols to protect you. # shame on you, Kylie Jenner. Kylie responded, Kevin, this picture is not taken in a manufacturing facility. I would never bypass sanitary protocols, and neither would any other celeb beauty brand owner. That's completely unacceptable. I agree. This is a small personal space creating my own fun samples and taking pictures for content nowhere near the mass manufacturing. No one is putting customers at risk. Shame on you, Kevin, for spreading false information.
Get him, Kylie.
Kevin. Shame on me, no shame on you, or whoever takes care of your social media for trying to gaslight everyone into thinking I'm the one to blame. Just take responsibility for your mistake and move on.
This is so full circle because earlier in the week we were talking about people not understanding what gaslighting means and just using it when they like feel angry about someone they perceive to be lying. That's not what gaslighting is, first of all. So I hate the misuse of the word. Second of all, it's important to note that this office that she's at, this manufacturing office, is the same one that Rare Beauty uses. It's also important to remember that Coty Cosmetics, which is literally one of the biggest beauty conglomerates in the world, owns, I think, 50% of Kylie Cosmetics. This isn't like some janky Rinna Beauty, like mixing it up lip glosses in my kitchen. Like, this is a really legitimate operation. I have a hard time believing that they would let Kylie into their actual manufacturing area where people literally make makeup that gets into the hands of the customers with her long hair, not in a hairnet, bypassing all these safety protocols. Selena Gomez, Rare Beauty, uses this too. She was literally in that same office space not a week ago because she's in Italy with her mans that we spoke about yesterday, taking videos. She wasn't wearing a hairnet. Like, this is, first of all, I don't believe that this is the actual place where they're manufacturing.
It's not. It's for the content. Like, are you so stupid? I didn't see that and think, oh, that's the lipstick. Kylie's making my lipstick that I'm going to put on my lips. Like, she's fucking around. She's taking pictures. She's promoting her brand. And like, have you never had a photo op? Like, have you never taken a picture of you doing something that you weren't actually doing?
No. And so then I went on a deep dive on this guy's Instagram, and he's literally like the police.
He's like trying to be the Diet Prada of the beauty industry.
Yes. Great analysis. Like, he is so annoying. Like, you have to look at his Instagram. He's just like Karen, like saying everything every beauty brand is doing wrong. And he's acting as if like makeup is literally like medical supplies. Like, he's just acting like they put fucking toxins in our water. Like, calm the fuck down. First of all, it's not that serious. First of all. Second of all, like, who he needs to do a better job of. He probably has like a very, detailed background that makes him eligible to be a critic, but like, I don't know who or what it is that you do. His bio was extremely vague. Like, my clients, manufacturing. What does that mean? What do you do? I need to know if I can trust you because your Instagram is extremely vague.
No, it's extreme loser behavior, and I'm just obsessed with Kylie for dragging this loser.
I know, but I do wish she didn't even respond.
And for making the time to put him in his place and not backing down. He followed up, she followed up, but I also think like no one is really on the side of KJ Bennett Beauty right now.
No, but so it's so easy to like call out a Kardashian because there's always going to be like a slew of people being like, yeah, just because people hate the Kardashians. And I'm not even saying this because I literally would take a bullet for Kylie, but because like it's just loser behavior, and I will never ever take the side of loser behavior.
Yikes.
No, this bothered me so much. Like I don't even know what the right word is.
Like,
no, what's the word when like he's like so indignant and like condescending and patronizing, like he knows everything about beauty. Well, actually, I would argue Kylie knows a hell of a lot about beauty. She literally started $1 billion beauty company, whether anybody likes to believe it or not,
Yeah.
Oh my God, it bothered me so much. And then people in the comments like, oh, Kardashian, like, shut up. Like, if there's a legitimate critique of the Kardashians, like, I am the first person to like agree with it. Mm-hmm. I'm not the first, but I will agree with it.
No, but
this isn't
not that.
Blind loyalty.
This is not that. She's not like, it's not as if her products went out and Kylie hairs were in them, right? And he's calling her out. Like,
even though I would literally love for a lipstick with Kylie's hair in it, I would sell it on eBay.
Right, that's the other thing. It's like, okay, so Kylie contaminated it. Cool.
Yay.
Yes. Sign me up.
But that's us being blindly loyal.
No, but it's not that. She's taking some pics. Calm the fuck down.
And by the way, if he's such a beauty expert, shouldn't he understand like the importance of promoting and being authentic on Instagram and like sharing the experience with your customers? Here's where we make this. Here's my studio. Like, you're such a beauty expert. Don't you know an important integral part of marketing is promoting on social media? And that's exactly what she's doing. So you should know, like, more likely than not, she wouldn't compromise the quality and integrity of her products for a photo.
No, and KJ.
Neither would Selena Gomez.
And KJ, you've just given her much more promotion. Thanks.
Right.
Because now we're talking about it. I wasn't going to talk about those lab pics. I saw them. They're cute. I moved on.
Yeah. And I just don't believe that, like, Kylie Cosmetics, which is really like an extremely legitimate company, whether people like want to drag it or not, same with Rare Beauty, that they would use the same manufacturer who would allow them to bypass sanitary rules. Like, I don't believe that. They wouldn't. Maybe if like there are some Instagram brands like that make like lip gloss, I'm like, yeah, no, you're definitely not complying with safety regulations. But I don't feel that way about, I just don't believe that Kylie or Rare Beauty would do that.
I'm not worried.
Then he blasted Selena too.
This isn't going to change my next purchase at Kylie.
No, if anything, I'm empowered. I've been hearing a lot of good things about these cream blushes.
I want to support this brand that's under attack.
Right. Supporting small businesses.
Female-owned businesses.
Right. Thanks, KJ.
Thank you.
You have to do a deep dive on his Instagram. Like, it will infuriate
I looked at a little bit of it. Yeah, no, it's just like, call out. Please help me go viral.
Yeah, no, it was just like, and it's just so easy. I just think that's like a tacky way to create engagement on social media. Like, it's just uninspired. Oh, wow, you're going to rail on the Kardashians. Like, nobody's ever thought of that.
Indignation.
That's it. Thank you. Righteous indignation. Justice for Kylie. We stand with Kylie.
We do. And she's having like such a cute weekend at Harrods with Stormaloo.
Looking gorge. I
loved her outfit.
Me too.
Multiple outfits.
She's killing it. We love to see her out and about again. You know,
she's out and about, and like she's all over TikTok, which between her and Rach, it's convincing, but I'm not going to do it because I have scruples.
The Kardashians have really stepped up on TikTok lately. You see this trend where like you tell someone you're going to do their makeup and then you turn them into a minion?
I didn't know that was the trend. I just saw Kim as a minion.
North did it to Kim, and it was just like everything. Like, yes, trendy queens.
Yeah, so I found a solve so that I can keep up with Kylie and all this premium content, I followed one of her Stan accounts.
That's like Kylie's TikToks?
That posts everything that she does. Yeah.
That's good. You should follow one for like all like Kardashian TikToks because Khloe's been really active too.
Shit. Okay. And also that's where I saw this drama.
Right.
Was
unfold.
On the new Stan account I follow. Okay. I got to up my Stanhood.
Yeah.
Are you ready for our next story?
Mm-hmm. By the way, did you make Kelsey Owens a story?
No, but let's just talk about it really quickly.
She posted on Instagram literally an hour ago.
Kelsey Owens from Siesta Key.
Do you want to read it? You want me to read it?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I got
verbatim from the horse's mouth.
Because like you could feel the fury in her caption, but overall she has been let go or like cut from
Siesta Key.
Which is really shocking because she's not like a irrelevant. Here's what she said. Last night, I was walking into Scene. I think that means they were filming, right?
Yeah.
I was walking into Scene at a freaking strip club of all places, and I was informed that I will be cut moving forward on Siesta Key with absolutely no warning. It's mind-blowing and truly disgusting that after working on a show since I was 19 years old, where I've shared things about my personal life I wasn't always comfortable with, revolved my whole life around, and put so much effort into, could come to an end in such a disrespectful manner and so abrupt. Not even a simple, thank you for sharing the past 5 years with us. I cried my eyes out, then wiped those tears, and filmed my last scene the best I could with my head held high. Despite the way things were handled, I'm so grateful for the friends I've made, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities I've been given, and most of all, the fans. I wish I could hug each and every one of you. You have no idea how much your kind words and support have meant to me and how much they've helped me get through some of the toughest times. I couldn't have made it these past 5 years without y'all, so thank you so much for that. I'm truly a better person. My time on the show may have come to an end, but this is just the beginning for me. Time to strut my way into this next chapter. Juliet left a comment. The crown may tilt, but never falls. We've made some amazing memories, and I'll never forget. Despite the ups and downs. Love you forever. Time to hop on the next roller coaster, girl. It's just the beginning.
Okay, so this was kind of shocking, especially if you know Siesta Key like from the early days. Like it was Kelsey and Juliet. You know, it's like Kristen and Elsie. Like they were the two pillars of the show. But watching it more recently, these last few seasons, Kelsey like has herself taken a step back. She's not involved in ever since all that stuff went down with Juliet and also with Kelsey and her bathing suit brand. There was like one season where Kelsey said that stuff to Sam about Juliet.
Yep.
Like
that was the last time I watched, by the way.
Yeah, she was really involved in the drama. She was starting stuff. And I guess like she didn't like that version of herself. And then the next season, she pulled back completely to the point where she was talking about wanting to leave Florida. Like that was her whole storyline this past season, is that she doesn't want to live in the Key anymore. She wants to maybe live in LA. She was visiting Madison. And it's like,
is Madison on the show?
Yes, Madison is on the show. I'm not caught up on the rest of this last season, but Madison has been going through a lot like in her personal life.
Yes.
So what's most surprising about this is that like this wasn't even Kelsey's decision, because I would have thought at some point she would have left the show on her own, because if you want to move to LA, like that would be that. It is disrespectful the way that they went about it.
I think what she's saying, I don't know if she's necessarily even so mad that she's been cut. I think it's the way.
Yeah, like you're about to they're in Miami, because I saw Juliet was at 11, so I guess that's where the scene was being filmed.
Strip club, yeah.
They're on a cast trip probably, and like in the middle of the trip you're going to be told like this isn't your job anymore.
Well, they probably wanted her final scene to be like really raw and emotional, and maybe the best way they thought of going about that was literally telling her 5 minutes before that you're fired.
Yeah, so that's not cool.
As someone who hasn't watched a show in a while, it's like, oh my God, they're kicking off Kristen Cavallari.
It's not.
But it's not.
Because she herself has just been like much more withdrawn from the show. She stopped even doing her bathing suit line. She never really got back into the drama like she used to be. She just kind of became like a sounding board for other people. And her personal storyline was like, what will be my journey? Like, should I move to LA? Florida isn't for me. And so I think, like she said, ultimately this is what's best, and it is a new beginning for her. And now she can like find what her passion is and like what makes her happy. But it must have been a real shock considering she was that girl season 1.
No, I know. And I really haven't kept up in a while. So can you tell me if she ever made a decision between commercial and editorial?
She kind of chose neither. And at the end of the day, she chose commercial because
influencer
doing the show is very commercial. Yeah. But she walked for Juliet's fashion show, which I loved. And that's the picture that she posted. Used. So we love women supporting women. And I just wish they could have supported each other sooner, because they could have done a bathing suit line together.
It does really suck, though, that like she was, cast and, fully like supported by the show when she was being like toxic drama. And then probably like for her own mental health, she like took a step back and was like, let me just like not be so dramatic for a minute. And then you get fired. It just like reinforces like such bad behavior. But that's literally like the atmosphere on a reality show like that.
Yes. The only other thing I'll say about Siesta Key is there are so many people on the show who actually aren't cast members. Like they're not in the credits. But they're kind of like friend of, like, I think it was years before like Amanda even, but she was in every single scene. So I feel like that could happen with Kelsey if she does wind up staying in the Key, where like she'll be on the show all the time, but she's not going to be in the credits in the beginning. I want to catch the feeling.
I don't really like that on reality shows. And I feel like Southern Charm is getting that way, where like I literally can't keep up with how many people there are. They need to like flush out some of the older people. Like seriously, why is John Pringle still on the show? But
is he in the cast thing in the beginning?
I don't know, but he's still like a character.
Yeah.
There's like so many supplemental people that it's overwhelming and you can't really focus. They need to like keep the new people who are really good and get rid of some of the old people who are like stale.
Yes. But first of all, Southern Charm is working for me, so I'm not going to complain. But one, like, sure, a new person could be really good season one, maybe even the whole season, but like
longevity,
you don't know. And then you're stuck with all these people who actually don't have it versus like the older people, not Pringle because he's a new cast member, but the OGs, like they've proven that people like them. Maybe not every season's going to be the most interesting for them, but like you need those people to sort of tether the show.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So surprising. I wish Kelsey well, and I'm glad that her and Juliet are friends again. That was just the one thing that wasn't working for me.
Yeah, it wasn't right.
It wasn't right. It didn't sit right.
No, definitely
Things
not.
got real bad. But I'm really proud of Juliet. And it's so hard because like I see her on social media and like she's at Miami Swim Week. She's doing everything. But then like the moments where the show's filming her, she's like
at
making
lowest.
every bad choice, going back to her ex-man's. Like,
but that's why she stays like on the show.
I know.
She's literally
but you can tell
a professional.
It drains her.
I mean, of course, like
and
in order to be imagine if in order to be successful professionally, you had to be so toxic personally and like burn everything good to the ground.
Yep. And not focus on yourself or your well-being or not drinking. Like every season, like I feel like so many of the people and every show, they start being like, I'm not drinking, but then just the environment
harbors it,
that behavior, and it's so hard to stick to your goals.
No, that's why like being a reality star on like certain shows is so toxic and so draining and like literally so bad for your mental health. And then years later you like hear about it because like they're under contract and you're like, wow, how did that ever happen? But it literally still happens.
Yeah.
So wishing Kelsey the best, really. Like I think this was a great launching pad for her. She's gonna have a successful career as an influencer, which is good. Like it's more low key like than a reality show. You don't need the fame. You just need to like make a nice living and live your life. Yeah. Wishing her the best.
Totally. Okay, now moving on to the next story. Lots of drama. Page Six is reporting that Victoria Beckham is in a cold war with her new daughter-in-law, Nicola Peltz.
As predicted here on the Morning Toast, because we just felt like there was a vibe at the wedding.
It's the Ice Girls, says Page Six. That's really good.
Funny.
There's a full-on cold war between Victoria Beckham and her new daughter-in-law, Nicola Peltz, Page Six has learned. Nicola just married Brooklyn Beckham back in April, who's their oldest son, but Page Six hears there was trouble brewing even before the nuptials. A source close to the family told them, quote, they can't stand each other and don't talk. The buildup to the wedding was horrendous. The source says that Nicola didn't want Victoria to be any part of the planning, and she wouldn't clue Victoria in on anything. Communication was minimal. Apparently, the cold shoulder didn't help Victoria, who was struggling to warm up to the new family member, see her good side. They added that it's become, quote, nonstop petty drama, and it's coming between the Beckhams, who now live in Miami, and their son. Quote, they haven't spoken to him much in the last few months, said a source who told us that it even went over badly at the Beckham house when Brooklyn posted a cover of Nicola on the cover of Tatler calling her, quote, the new Mrs. Beckham. Yikes.
I mean, that's fucking disrespectful, by the way. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, that is not cool.
Okay, so obviously we were just like we were tipped off when after the wedding, it was clear that Brooklyn and Nicola were going to go by Mr. and Mrs. Beckham Peltz or whatever.
Yeah.
Like new progressive woman in power. Yeah. And every time Victoria would post about the wedding, it was Mr. and Mrs. Beckham. So it was clear that like there was like a little shade there. And I think when you're so famous, so wealthy, like I just can't imagine it being like a typical ideal mother-in-law relationship. Like there's like so much at stake.
Yeah.
And there's so many egos, like models, singers, actresses, like there's egos involved. So it's a recipe for disaster.
But I just remember years ago when they were dating, Victoria like would post about her glowingly on her Instagram.
Okay, so this is just a theory, but like it's easy to post glowingly about a nobody. Do you know what I mean? Like, for a really long time, honestly, up until her wedding, like most lay people who aren't obsessed with celebrity and social media culture have no idea who Nicola Peltz is. She's very much like a socialite. Her dad is like a very wealthy person. I think she's acted, but like no one really knows her work. So it's easy as like, you know, the biggest star, Victoria Beckham, designer, everything, to embrace someone who's non-threatening.
Yeah.
But I think like with the engagement and the build up to the wedding, they were doing like all this Vogue stuff. Like I think like it got like a little too close for Victoria, honestly. Like this is where egos come into play, where it's like, you know, for a moment in time, Nicola was like the most famous Beckham woman.
Yeah.
Forever, that's been Victoria. So the way that I perceive it is like a jealousy thing, like a competition thing.
That's interesting. The way that I perceive it is it goes back to Bella Thorne calling Nicola a mean girl.
Yes.
And there are a lot of rumors about her being not a nice person.
That's true too.
I think also Nicola and Brooklyn are like obsessed with each other and like just, you know, to the point of ignoring the rest of the world and in some ways taking their son away from the Beckhams.
Well, isn't that just like the great equalizer, the most relatable thing? Like I think a lot of girls struggle with their mother-in-laws because their mother-in-laws feel like they're the ones who've always been there for their sons and the son belongs to them. I'm the number one girl in my son's life, but actually you're not now. And that's where a lot of in-law relationships between mothers-in-laws and the bride stems from. It's like a jealousy, it's a territorial thing.
Yeah, but like now as a mom, like if some wench comes in, goodbye.
No, I know. Are you going to be a toxic mother-in-law?
I don't think so. It will depend on the girl. Sorry.
No, you're right. It's definitely easier to be a mother-in-law when it's your daughter, you know?
Yeah.
Because you would welcome a man, and I'm talking obviously hetero relationships. It's easy, I think, to let a man into your daughter's life because you welcome the idea of someone protecting and I mean, it's very traditional of me, but those are like bridal things. Like you welcome the idea of like an addition to the family, someone whose best interest is in your daughter and like joining you in protecting her.
Yeah.
Because you can never have enough protection. But with a mother-in-law and a son, you're not as welcoming to, because you're not coming in to protect, you're coming in to take over. To control.
To snatch.
To control. You know, and there's only going to be one bitch in control.
Yeah.
Two bitches can protect.
And Nicola is very much in control.
And I think Brooklyn has gone willingly, as he should, by the way, because I don't stand toxic mother-in-laws who like literally want to be equal to their wives.
And be called mama.
Okay, I just saw this guy. This is totally random. This guy on TikTok was telling a story about how he was in prison for 14 years and his mom came to pick him up. And it was his girlfriend at the time, so it's not the same. But then his girlfriend drove to the prison. And so she showed up and he was so excited. And he's like, which one do I drive with? And it was a girlfriend, so I do believe you go with your mom. Okay, you just got out of prison. Your son gets out of prison. God forbid, knock wood. Harry gets out of prison, and you pull up to pick him up, and so does his wife.
Girlfriend, you said.
No, but I'm saying, I'm saying if it's a wife. Like, whose car does he get into?
Ooh.
The wife.
If it's a wife.
And I don't know why they didn't just drive together. Maybe they're coming from different, like, states, but...
You need to communicate better.
I
hope I don't find myself in that situation.
Of course. But the thing is, it's like the wife.
The wife, yeah, but that was a girlfriend that you said.
You know, it just reminded me of this situation. So it's like when mother-in-laws can't really understand that like they now come second to the wife, that's where things get toxic.
Yeah. So
Brooklyn, like, giving, you know, his all to Nicola is what he should be doing as a good husband.
Yes. But
he should also be doing a better job communicating.
I do feel like the vibe I'm getting is that they're very isolated and just into each other.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. He comes from a really big family and it seems to be like a loving family. He has tons of siblings. Yeah. Like he shouldn't be giving them the cold shoulder for it should be one big happy family.
Agreed completely. And by the way, in-law relationship things, like they take time, dynamics to like settle into place. But this is not a good start.
No.
But you know
what's so crazy is like when we saw this wedding before, and when we finished recapping, we were like, that was weird about the Peltz Beckhams versus her saying the Beckhams. But the whole time we were like, how perfect, how charmed, you know, everything is
life is perfect.
This is the perfect family. And it just goes to show you like it's never what it seems.
No, and we said days of the week are the great equalizers. Mother-in-laws are the great equalizers.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a story, no matter how much money you have, where you come from, socioeconomic status, education.
And I also think, like, yes, Nicola has like these stories about her, but I think they're both kind of like tough cookies, you know?
For sure. No, they're both like ice queens.
Yeah.
And two ice queens rubbing together makes more ice.
Very chilly.
Yeah. Brr.
Ooh. Okay, are you ready for our next story?
If it's a story that's brought to you by ZipRecruiter, then yes, I am. There are so many more things to do during the summer, and you want to free up as much time as possible to enjoy them. So if you're a business owner, the last thing you want to do is sort through tons of unqualified candidates' resumes when you could be at the beach, listening to the podcast, going swimming, going hiking, literally doing a million things. So that's why you need ZipRecruiter to find great candidates. They do the work for you. Now you can try it for free when you go to ZipRecruiter.com/toast. Here's why ZipRecruiter is great. It is a resource we have used at The Toast for video editors, various like freelance, full-time. We've used it and it's really a great asset. They use their powerful technology to find and match the right candidates up with your job. You can easily review the recommended candidates and then invite your top choices to apply. ZipRecruiter has a complete suite of tools that makes it easy to filter, review, and rate your candidates. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So soak up all that summer has to offer and let ZipRecruiter do the work for you. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/toast, and that's where you can try it for free. Again, ZipRecruiter.com/TOAST. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Great, thank you. Our next story. Meghan McCain is speaking again about her experience on The View and explaining Joy's comment that made her quit for once and for all.
Also, they have confirmed their 5th co-host, and it is Ana Navarro.
No, it's both of them. It's Ana Navarro and the one we talked about last week, Alyssa.
I only saw Ana Navarro.
They put both of them in Meghan's place.
Got it.
Anyways, Meghan McCain revealed that Joy Behar served as the ultimate catalyst to quit The View. The former morning show co-host explained on a podcast on Thursday that podcast making news. Joy's response to her returning from maternity leave in January 2021 after giving birth to her daughter Liberty made her realize the job was not worth it. Joy, as she said, Meghan said, quote, "I finally went back on the show, and the day I went back on the show, Joy said on air, quote, 'Nobody missed you. We didn't miss you. You shouldn't have come back.'"
It was really mean. Like, that's Mama's.
Get her.
That was really mean. Like, they were arguing about something political. I don't even remember. And they were trying to cut to a commercial break, but Meghan wanted to like finish her point, which obviously like maybe she shouldn't have done. Like, you have a certain time slot, but like she was passionate. And it was so mean the way like Joy cut her off and then literally was like, basically, get back in the kitchen, woman. Like, it was so derogatory. So I can imagine that having like a profound effect on Meghan. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, so last night when I saw the Ana Navarro thing, I'm not really familiar with Ana Navarro or like what her politics are. The only thing I saw is like this really bad take she had on special needs children. It was like actually really fucked up.
Yeah.
I was trying to understand like, because as far as I'm concerned, like Meghan was conservative, and this is not me being political at all. I just thought the show was supposed to like represent a broad range of political views. And then when I thought it was just Ana Navarro, I'm like, well, there isn't actually like a Republican or a conservative. So how is this The View? It's just like a view. And even with the other girl who worked for Trump, so she's obviously conservative, like she gets half the seat because Ana Navarro gets the other. Like, this is not me being political. Like, I'm just asking, like, how is that like fair representation for everyone? You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
And how are we supposed to have like actual meaningful dialogue if you're only talking to people who you agree with?
Right. And then there's just the one that you disagree with and everyone thinks it's like Meghan.
Right. Like, there really should be 2 Republicans, like actually like hardcore Republicans, 2 like hardcore Democrats, and like a centrist.
Or 2 centrists.
Sure.
It should be a spectrum.
Right. So I don't know like how The View intends to like really represent all of America's views moving forward if half the time there's not even like an actual Republican on TV.
Yeah, I don't think they're so concerned, you know?
No, yeah. I think like the way that they're doing it now, and
even like this story illustrates that. It's like, we liked it better when you weren't here to disagree with us.
That's like really sad for Meghan McCain.
She said, this is what she said. She said, I just started hysterically crying. Sorry, gentlemen. I know. I started lactating on air and started crying. She said she went back to her office and threw up before calling her brother, who convinced her to leave the show. She said, quote, "I didn't feel supported when I had my baby, and I didn't feel supported coming back. And that was ultimately it. That's why I left."
So I'm assuming her and Joy like aren't girlies anymore, but I am really curious about her relationship with Whoopi, because like the entire time she was on the show, like she really maintained that like Whoopi Goldberg was a really good friend of her father's, a good friend of her family. She like has so much respect for Whoopi. Mm-hmm. So is that still true?
This is what she said in her memoir. Quote, "The thing about Whoopi, though, is that she yields so much power in culture and television, and once she turns on you, it can create unfathomable tension at the table. I found her open disdain for me more and more difficult to manage as the years went on, and it became more frequent. Occasionally, if the show's political discourse veered into territory that she found disagreeable, Whoopi would cut me off, sometimes harshly." So I don't think it's
the same.
No.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Female friendships, notwithstanding. You hate to see it.
I always get like so interested in this View news.
I know.
And I need to read that book.
You do, Women Who Punch.
Ladies Who Punch. That makes the title better because it's like Ladies Who Lunch, except they're mean.
Oh, I never put that together.
And they punch each other.
That's good, yeah.
Except I don't really know the history of The View, but I think I would find it interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's extremely pertinent because this week on The View, they brought back Elizabeth Hasselbeck for like one day as a guest co-host to fill in Meghan's still empty chair. And a lot of people were talking about it. I don't know what happened before. I don't know what happened this week, but I just know that she's back in the news.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Is she
they were also making it
David?
No,
that's Hasselhoff.
No, but they were also making it seem the headlines that like she was coming back, and it's like for one episode.
For one day, yeah.
For one.
Yeah. And I think if I remember correctly, it was her versus Rosie O'Donnell.
That sounds right.
Because I follow Rosie O'Donnell on TikTok, and she made a TikTok about the Elizabeth Hasselbeck. She's like, I went to watch Elizabeth Hasselbeck's episode, and now I remember why I hate her or something. Like it was it's obviously not resolved between the two girlies.
Damn.
And it just makes me upset. I feel like I said this earlier. Like I feel like The View is supposed to be like we can all have difference of opinions and still be friends. And time after time, like they've proven that actually not to be true.
Yeah.
So it's upsetting.
It's setting a bad example.
Yeah, it really is actually.
Yeah. Our next story is some big news from Lady A. They're postponing their tour to support Charles Kelley's journey to sobriety.
Oh, I think this is good.
Lady A is postponing their Request Line tour in solidarity with band member Charles Kelley's sobriety journey. Quote, "We are a band, but more importantly, we're family." The country music trio wrote in a joint statement on social media on Thursday. Quote, "We're proud to say that Charles has embarked on a journey to sobriety. So right now, in order to be the healthiest, strongest, and most creative band we can, Lady A will take time with the support of our families and team of professionals to walk through this together."
I love this, by the way, because two things. There have been, whispers in the country community for years about his struggle, like his open struggle with alcohol and not really any resolution. But also, I think that honestly, like when I think of the trajectory of Lady A's career, when they first had like those first couple songs that were literally like cross genre hits, everyone, whether you like country or not, I just need you now. Like they were going to be like the next Dan and Shay almost. And it does feel like they got like sidetracked and almost kind of blown off the radar. And I think a lot of it had to do with like the toxic dynamics of the group that were fueled by his drinking. That's like what I think. And this is like, I think like a 10-year issue. And I love Charles Kelley. He's literally so hot. I actually would take a bullet for him. So I'm actually really happy to hear this. And that they're sharing it openly is like really cool because a lot of people in this industry like struggle with addiction, they like get help, but we never hear about it.
Right, but they are on tour, so they would have to come up with a reason for the postponement.
But they could always say like COVID, like you could come up with a million things.
Yeah, they did say it was early days of his sobriety journey, so I think he has a long way to go, but I agree. I think this is all good news, and they're so successful, and country fans love them, and they do huge tours, and their music's on the radio, and I don't think they are lacking in any successful department.
No, me neither.
But along the way, they have each done solo endeavors. I feel like sometimes the band always wasn't a priority. They don't have like the crossover success that they maybe could have had, as you're arguing, and maybe some of these dynamics did play a part in that.
I think them prioritizing their solo projects, at least the vibe that I got, and I don't know this for a fact, had to do with like the band being a little toxic.
Like needing a break
and like tiptoeing around this big thing. Everyone's thinking it, but no one's saying it.
Yeah, it's like if Dan of Dan and Shay went and did a solo project, I'd be like, okay, something's going on.
Right.
Not great.
Right. And that's kind of what's going on with Florida Georgia Line.
But they're
like broken up, but not. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, aside from us, some people like need a break from each other, like duos. Yeah. And maybe
that's why you should only work with your sister.
But then you look at the Jonas Brothers, big yikes.
Yeah, because then if professionally things get weird, they also get weird personally, and like your whole life falls apart. Like, yeah, at least if you're in a band and it doesn't work out, like you still have your family.
So like my working theory was like, because they're not family, and it's just, at a certain point you can be super close and work together, but there's always something. It's like call her daddy,
Right. By the way, it always comes back to call her daddy.
And then I always think about us, and it's like, oh, we have to be tethered because we're family, and so we have to fucking make it work, even if, if for some reason it didn't. But then I think about the Jonas Brothers, and they throw a wrench in my theory.
I know, but I do believe the Jonas Brothers are like an outlier. I like to think. I mean, let's think of like, bands,
But they did
groups.
get it back together, and maybe if they weren't family,
they would have had no reason to.
They wouldn't have.
But Kevin started having kids, and it's like, we're not going to know our uncles. Family like tethers you to one another. And actually, I don't think they really would have ever gotten back together if they weren't brothers, because first of all, they had no reason to come back to one another. And they were having individual success, like DNCE and Nick Jonas's solo career.
Yeah.
So they would have continued on with that and all been fine.
Yeah.
So, family, man. Caroline Manzo said it best. Blood is thicker than water.
It's really true. So true.
So true.
Our fifth and final story
is brought to you by ZocDoc.
It is.
Real reviews. Before you book a brunch spot, you pour over a list of reviews, don't you? So why don't you do the same when you're booking a doctor? With ZocDoc, you can see real, verified patient reviews to help find the right doctor in your network and in your neighborhood. After all, finding the right doctor is just as, if not more important than finding the right place for Eggs Benedict. And I feel like especially like, everyone gets in a routine when it comes to doctors, but you just moved, like you don't know any of the doctors.
I was just about to say that, like when you move, it makes you realize like,
you need new everything.
And what's the Yelp for doctors?
Right.
ZocDoc.
So on ZocDoc, you can find every specialist under the sun, whether you're trying to straighten your teeth, fix your achy back, get a mole checked out. Anything else, ZocDoc has you covered. Their mobile app is as easy as ordering a ride to a restaurant or getting delivery to your house. You search, find, and book doctors within a few taps. You can find and review local doctors, read verified patient reviews from people who actually made appointments, and now when you walk into the doctor,
who are actually beautiful.
Now when you walk into doctor's offices, you're all set to see someone in your network who gets you. Go to ZocDoc.com, find the doctor that is right for you, in person or remotely. So ZocDoc.com/toast, download the ZocDoc app for free. When you use the link ZocDoc.com/toast, you will get ZocDoc downloading the app for free, starting your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. ZocDoc.com/toast.
Great. Our fifth and final story, a little update, something we've been talking about, not officially, but Brittney Griner is devastated after a Russian court sentences her to 9 years in prison, lawyers say.
I saw this and I'm like, this is like so upsetting.
Yeah. Well, at first I thought she has been sentenced to 9 years in prison in a Russian penal colony, so that's where she's going. But this does still leave things open to a prisoner exchange.
Yeah. So, I feel like there's not really like clarity on like what anyone is actually planning to do. And I guess maybe like they're not sharing top secret government shit with us. But I would like to know like if there's a plan in place. Brittney Griner's wife is like kind of the face of the social media campaign. She's been like literally begging the president to actually do something. And now I think it just like feels real for a lot of people because she's kind of been in this limbo, like appealing and, in court. But now she has like a full ass sentence and it's really fucking long for a marijuana pod. Like it's so dumb. And I don't know like what the plan is to get her out. Like people are saying they want to trade this like crazy ass violent Russian arms dealer who's like in Guantanamo or something here. Putin's like, yeah, give me him and you can have her, which is like, that sucks. But you got to do what you got to do. Like you got to bring Girly home.
Yeah.
And apparently now this is like bringing out other stories of Americans. There's like, and I'm completely uneducated. So like, just bear that in mind. There's this other guy in a Russian prison, American. His name is like Adam. And like, no one's talking about him. They're like, get Adam out too.
Damn.
So it's just so scary.
Also, you had said that for a while the media wasn't really covering this because they were like trying to do a backdoor deal or something and like make it a big deal so that like Russia doesn't know how much we want her back.
Right. Like not like quaking over how big of a deal this is because then Russia's like, wait, this is a big deal. Like we want all of our disgusting Russian arms dealers back, So not letting them know what they had. So because I was like, why the fuck is nobody talking about this? Like, and everyone keeps comparing, like if it was LeBron James, the biggest player in the NBA, not the WNBA, like he would be home already. So I was like, yeah, wait, why isn't anyone talking about it? And then when I had posted that on my Instagram, it was like the same day this podcast came out. Basically like the media was told like not to blow it up yet because it might impact negotiations, which did actually make sense to me.
Yeah, but I do feel like now
it's like we got to blow it up.
And it might impact negotiations.
I know. And the thing is, are there negotiations?
But the way they were doing it before didn't work either.
Right. And I don't even know if like anyone is actually trying to get her out. Like everything I hear is just like conjecture. Like, how do you know what the government, foreign affairs, national security is trying to do?
Yeah. The Secretary of State said that, quote, Griner was quite happy to know that she had not been forgotten and that there were some possible developments. So vague.
I know. She just must be like freaking out.
Yeah.
Like so scared.
Yeah.
We'll keep you abreast, but I really do hope she gets home safely. And I think like everyone should be like quaking over this because It's so sad. Like she must be freaking out, so scared.
Yeah, no, it's really
like being in prison is obviously scary no matter what, but like in a foreign country where like you don't speak the language, really scary. So those were the Fast 5 stories. You definitely needed to know them, like all of them.
I feel like you did. It was a little 6 because of Kelsey.
Right, 5.5.
Kelsey was the 6th man.
6th man. And that's our show. This is the final episode of the week, and it's the final episode that I'm down here. But again, if you missed it in the beginning of the show, I'm literally coming back a week from today, so don't worry. But
it gives us a week to work to like show you guys what we have brewing for remote.
It's and get great. Our kinks worked out in the remote studio. So I'm going to be in West Hampton on Friday for a show. So girlwithnojob.com/tour.
Are you going to go see Tom Segura and Tim Dillon?
They're both playing like the day before and the day after me.
Make a weekend of it. If I was in town, I would go to all 3.
You would just sleep there.
Triple whammy. My favorite podcast.
And Jay Leno.
No, I'm good. You guys would... I would have a festival called Podchella, and it was just like me going to the 3 of you.
We should have a festival called... I mean, I'm sure I think there is like podcast festivals, but like we've never been invited, so they're obviously not good. We should put together like Podchella.
I think we were invited to one.
Really? Yeah. Oh, we actually were. Yeah,
but it didn't work
But it
out.
wasn't a podcast festival. It was a comedy festival that we couldn't like schedule. It didn't work, but... I don't know if there's like an actual podcast
festival.
Yeah. Like, but who would put it on? That's the thing. That's the same thing with like the podcast awards. It's like, oh, who should put it together? iHeartRadio. Then they only nominate their own podcast, which obviously makes sense. No, like if we did awards, I would nominate TNN.
I'm actually shocked iHeartRadio hasn't done a podcast festival of their podcast. I don't expect them to include us.
Right. Like live shows
of their podcasts.
Podfest.
Yeah, they would call it iHeart Podcasts.
You know, I don't think you're actually allowed to like put together a festival and have it end in Cella. Like, I think it's trademarked.
Of course. I mean, I would assume.
Yeah.
No, they would call it iHeart Podcasts.
But we would call it Podchella.
Yeah.
That's why we're better than everyone.
And that's why we'll get sued.
And that's why it'll never happen. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Have an amazing weekend. Love you all. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening to The Morning Toast, the Millennial Morning Show, where we deliver the Fast 5 stories that you need to know every Monday through Friday on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're also available as a podcast anywhere.
Absolutely anywhere. There's nowhere that we're not, where you could find a podcast where you couldn't find ours.
Anywhere podcasts can be found.
Not that I know.
So that's Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Public Radio, iHeartRadio, CastBox, all the places. So wherever you listen to podcasts, find us Morning Toast and leave a 5-star review about how beautiful, stunning, and smart we are. Have an amazing incroyable weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
Incroyable, though. Keep it incroyable.
Bye.
Nothing less than incroyable, y'all.